cascade. The wolves' natural predators, in this case the elk, multiplied, all while consuming increasing amounts of foliage. This hurt the species that relied on that vegetation, like the birds who nested in the trees, and the beavers who used the willows to create their dams. And without the beaver dams, hundreds of native fish species started to decline. And as the fish declined, so did the animals that fed on them, like the foxes and bears. By removing a single species, a cascade of negative effects propagated outward throughout the ecosystem. In 1974, the gray wolf was officially recognized as endangered, and so recovery efforts were mandated under the Endangered Species Act. The very next year, the long process to restore wolves to Yellowstone began. But for a long time, problems were evident. The program lacked both the necessary funding and any meaningful willpower to get it done. Despite the fact that, legally, restoration was supposed to begin in 1975, Congress only got around to appropriating funding in 1991, only about 2 decades late, which by today's standards might actually be a fast pace. After receiving more than 160,000 public comments, the most of any federal proposal at the time, 31 gray wolves were drugged and abducted, or relocated as conservationists like to call it, from Canada to Yellowstone. When wolves were brought back to the park, they finally killed the overabundance of elk. The elk populations decreased from more than 15,000 in the early 90s to about 6,000 last year. And not only did their numbers dwindle, but the wolves' mere presence was enough to change the elk's behavior. They started to avoid Yellowstone's valleys and gorges,